Two guys in the dark.
The worst story involved my girlfriend at the time. We were both hired for the Christmas rush, so we did all of our training together. She worked in the photo lab. One day she had someone come in and drop off a couple of rolls of film. As she was developing them, she noticed some nude pictures, which they are allowed to print. The next roll had child porn on it. At first they seemed like normal pictures, kids in the bathtub sort of thing. You know, pictures all parents have of their kids. But things went downhill quickly. She immediately stopped the roll, took it out of the machine, then called the manager. They told her to just give the roll back to the guy and tell him that they couldn't develop it. After the manager had left, my girlfriend did the right thing. She called the police. They had arrested the guy and fired my girlfriend. I was never so proud of anyone as I was of my girlfriend that day. I worked as an overnight meat salesperson in a small town super Walmart. I started noticing a lot of health code violations regarding handling the meat. Cases weren't cleaned, relabeling expired dates, water leaks in the coolers, you name it. I complained to my first line supervisor. I got brushed off. Complained to the store manager. Got brushed off. When I finally went to the regional manager and complained, they made a lot of crap up to fire me. I found out about the stuff that was made up because I had overheard the hiring personnel person discussing with the store manager how they were planning to nail someone on overnight. Also, Walmart makes it a policy not to share information with health inspectors. You are told specifically what to tell them and what you've lost. Stuff you're supposed to tell them are things that'll get you shut down. You lose records that will just result in a fine. I would also be left up at the desk for 9 hours with no breaks while being diabetic. They claimed that I never told them that, even though it was written on all of my forms. Customers would have to take pity on me, buy me food just to keep me from passing out. One day I did pass out. Management happened to show up, put me in a wheelchair, wheeled me to a back room, and then left me alone. No one called an ambulance. I finally came to several minutes later and managed to get to a vending machine to get a candy bar to boost my sugar. There were also numerous times that I was forced to break state and federal laws regarding firearm and WIC item returns. I'd spend my lunch hours crying in my car in the parking lot. I finally just walked out, even though I had no other options. I'd rather be unemployed than ever work there again. My Walmart experience is one that I will never forget. I was hired for a brand new store that had just been built. I made within $1 of minimum wage as a full-time day stockman. My responsibilities were to get the carts. Heavy merchandise and other lifting and lugging was needed. My work routinely required that I go into the back of the store to get merchandise down from storage. I did this 3 to 5 times per day, every single day. The merchandise that I was asked to get included bicycles, Power Wheel toys that weighed upwards to 180 plus pounds, all put in a very awkwardly large box with uneven weight distribution, barbecue grills, snow blowers. All of these heavy items were placed in the top parts of the shelves, except for the bicycles hanging from the ceiling of the stockroom, as the lower parts of the shelves were used for merchandise that moved more frequently. I did all of this without ever having to access a forklift, man lift, or even a second person to help me. You know those boxes that say 2-man lift? I had an 18-foot wooden ladder rated at 150 pounds. I was a lineman in football in high school, weighed about 225 pounds. I routinely had to haul 400 pounds up and down a wooden ladder rated for 150 pounds. The ladder also had the slight problem of being shorter than the bottom of the bicycle. I had put up or down from the ceiling several times a day. In order to reach the bicycles, I had to stand on top of the ladder, the step that marks "Do not step here." Stand on my tippy toes, reach the bottom of the wheel of the bicycle that was hanging from the ceiling. I then had to push it up, swing it sideways off of the hook, somehow lower it down without even falling. Try to hold a bicycle above your head by the back tire so that it points straight up. Sometimes I was even on the ground, just so that you can get an idea of how difficult this was. I felt this was very unsafe. I complained to management repeatedly that I needed a forklift and was denied my request again and again. One day, while moving a large Power Wheel box, I fell on a wobbly ladder. The only reason I recovered was the Power Wheel box jammed me right for the catch on the way down. This time I had enough. I filed a complaint with OSHA describing the situation. After months of refusal, 2 brand new and taller fiberglass ladders with a higher weight rating mysteriously showed up the very next morning. It took years after my parting with Walmart before that store received equipment like forklifts. I'd like to think that it happened without someone getting seriously hurt and suing the company, but I just don't see any other way that it could have happened. These events took place 17 to 19 years ago, and I have since moved on to a professional career that has taken me around the country as a consultant. I have never once in all of my years met a company that needed a union more than Walmart does. Everyday life as a Walmart worker. I was basically caught by the manager making out with a chick at storage, and was grabbed by him aggressively. I acted on self-defense. I'm now facing assault charges. Complete bullshit. But the absolute worst thing about working there had to be the Walmart cheer. In case you've never been fortunate enough to witness the daily Walmart pep rally, basically consists of all the available associates gathering in a big circle to hear about how much money our store had brought in the previous day, and how we all needed to work harder so our store would bring in more money than all the other Walmarts nearby. And to steal the deal, we would all take part in the Walmart cheer, a ritual that simultaneously drains you of all hope for the future, while at the same time somehow numbing you to the point of lethargic resignation to the lot in your life. My wife had worked at Walmart for almost 10 years now. She has accumulated over 60 hours of sick leave, and God knows how much personal time. This year alone, the problem, Walmart policy only lets you miss so many days a year, even if you use your sick leave or personal time. So having missed 4 days since March of this year, today is October 20th, she got talked to and was told if she calls in sick or takes another personal day before a specific date in November, she will be written up. Now, you can let an employee accumulate sick and personal time and then write them up if they take advantage of that accumulated time. But my wife assures me that this is the Walmart policy, and it always has been. I spent one of my horrible summers working at a Walmart in college. They treat their employees terribly, and as a young, innocent, late teenager, I didn't see it at first. The employees are a mix of people just trying to do their job. The worst kind of people that you could meet. The latter, of course, never get fired. The former were often people on food stamps or other assistance. Many had this as their second job to make ends meet. All the cameras at my store were trained on the employees, because somehow we were the ones that would steal. Sadly, there was a cashier who was caught stealing, and instead of firing him, they just put him in the frozen section. Because somehow stealing frozen foods is harder. I kid you not, that was their justification. The turnover rate at this store was 90%, and was in one of the best neighborhoods. The cashiers were 9 out of 10 times the most competent ones in the store, and to be moved to another department usually meant that you couldn't hack it at the front of the store. One of my coworkers wanted to get away from the register and move to the floor. Management refused since his IPH was high. They kept stalling and just making excuses. Recently at my Walmart, there have been several new policies in effect trying to cut down on pharmacy staff diverting pills, basically stealing. I'm all for stopping people from stealing, but not at mine or my colleagues' expense. The new rules include no radios, no heaters, no fans, no food, no stools, no drinks, not even a bottled water, no clothing with pockets, no cell phones. Will be enforced by pharmacy cameras. And the biggest kicker, no technician can use the pharmacy restroom, but they still have to clean it. Greetings from the 10th circle of hell. There are a few good-paying manufacturing jobs in this city. Because these soul-sucking goons from Arkansas are selling out our company. One lead-tainted cheap product at a time. Run for the parking lot, guys. Just run. That's how I wanted to greet all of my customers. but I was still too stupid to realize that faithful employee. Misnomer for sucker. A portion of a 40-point list. 28. This is an actual quote from a real Walmart store manager. Walmart associates are like cattle. All you have to do is prod them, and eventually they'll do exactly what you tell them to. Prodding prefers to a poking of a cow with a hot iron brand. Number 29. The day after everybody, literally in the store, had their hours cut because of the floundering economy. It's not in bad taste to walk around soliciting charitable donations from the employees who just received a 25% cut in pay. I really can't put this cutely, so let's just tell it straight. Everybody in the store had their hours cut. Any associate who wanted to try to retain the number of hours they were scheduled was being scheduled to work other departments. One associate was scheduled to make up his hours in my department, working the same shifts that I was cut from. My store manager had the gall to tell us at a meeting that, and I quote, "No hours have been cut from the schedule. They've simply been redistributed." Redistributed to where, you fat fuck? Everybody in the store is missing hours.
If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, like, and hit the bell for notifications on future videos and become a stalker of the night. And I'll see you next time.